Hi everyone, it's Gloria, and I'm here with Lily Beth this morning. I have taken a little breather from YouTube. Just a lot's been going on this summer, and I just needed a little time away from YouTube, not watching videos every day and just exploring other facets of my life. I think from what I've seen and heard over, just kind of scanning through the videos just over the last week, a lot of you are doing the same thing. And I really don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think we all need, to get away whenever we feel like it. We all need a change every now and then, and I've not stopped loving my little Lily Beth. I've not stopped changing her. I still have her in the bouncer here in my family room where I can see her every day. So none of that's changed. I just needed a break from technology, I guess you would say. And anyway, I don't know. Hopefully I will be making videos as often as I used to. We'll just have to see how things go. But anyway, I did notice that when I came back on the first part of the week and started looking up some of my regulars and some of the folks that I subscribe to, for some strange reason, YouTube, I guess it has to be YouTube because I certainly didn't do it, has unsubscribed me to a lot of you. So if you see the subscribe button pop up with, showing that I have subscribed, it's not that I was away from you from any of my own doing. It's just I'm finding, well, what happened to, these different friends of mine? Where did their channels go? And so anyway, I've been having to do some research just to locate some of them and resubscribe. But before I tell you a little bit about what's been going on, let me show you what I have on Lily Beth today. And I've had this on her for a little while now, and I'm really ready to change her into something else. But this is one of the Gymboree outfits from their Peter Rabbit line from last year, and as some of you may recall, we no longer have a Gymboree here. They closed their doors last year, so I was disappointed in that. Although going to visit other cities, I have found like the outlets and all, and I shopped, but I don't know if it's just me, but I am so thoroughly disappointed in their new, I don't know if you would even call it lines, but I am not liking one thing I see in Gymboree. I miss the beautiful things that they had, last year, and going back, they were so beautifully made, and they look so childlike and colorful and whimsical, and just I love the appliques and the embroidery, and they were so colorful. And this year they are just I don't know what to, I do know what I want to call them, but I will not say that over YouTube. But I'm sorely disappointed in Gymboree. So I doubt very seriously that I will be shopping Gymboree when we go out of town anymore, or online. I will just, if I want something that I don't have, I'll just go on eBay and try to find the older outfits that I'm lacking in some of the lines that I collect. And most of those are from like at least 5 years ago up till last year. But there again, I'm not shopping really as often as I did even on eBay. I have a few pieces in the vintage lines that I collect from Carter's that I'm lacking, and I'm just not finding them out there. There was a while, just maybe 4 or 5 months ago, where I saw a lot of them available in the larger sizes. Of course, I couldn't use that for my Reborn, but at least they were still out there. But now, just occasionally, I'm finding something, but I am still looking for a few things in the Garden Party line, and 1 or 2 things in the Sweet Daisy line and the Playful Pink. Anyway, I'm sure I don't have all of any of the lines, other than I'm only lacking 1 or 2 things that I know of in the Pretty Blue line. So, I will on occasion look at eBay just to see if there's anything out there. Since the lines are so old, a lot of the people that post their items don't know the names of the lines, so they don't come up under the line name, so it requires a little more searching. And, I'll be doing that, but, I have 2 closets literally full of clothes for Lily Beth. They're all now, very few of them are used other than my vintage lines, and I've actually had to start getting rid of some of the things that I have simply because I have no more room for them. Thank goodness my daughter and granddaughter still collect the Reborns. They have, I've lost count, maybe 9 or 10. They have one on the way. Their Reborn artist lived in Florida, and she has decided to move back to England, to her home there, and so she will no longer be creating these beautiful babies. And so my daughter has one that will be coming very soon, and that will probably be the last one that she gets for a good while anyway. But I've been kind of passing along some of Lily Beth's clothes to her and my granddaughter. But my granddaughter now is 10 years old, or 10 and a half actually, and she has developed taste of her own, and so some of the things that she likes are different than what I like for my baby. So I've donated a few things, and anyway, I've just not been going to thrift stores and shopping as I used to. My enthusiasm for the hobby has not diminished. I still, love my Lily Beth, and I so totally enjoy changing her and seeing her every day. But I still, I've not gotten myself to a point, my nerve, to try the rooting of her hair again. I've finally got me some new needles. I have the hair, I have the glue. I had such a bad experience with trying it the first time and not even succeeding with getting one individual hair in that I don't know, I've just not gotten up enough courage to spend the time to take all of the equipment out and try to reroot her hair. And she is in such desperate need of new hair. Anyway, the lady that made her originally took down her website, although as a fluke I did find her on eBay. She does have a baby for sale, so there's a possibility that I could contact her and see if I could get her to reroot Lily Beth. And she lives in Alabama, which is neighboring state to Mississippi where I live, so it wouldn't be out of reason for me to take Lily Beth over there to her. I just don't like the idea of sending her off, not even her head. I would be devastated, literally devastated, if something happened to this little baby doll. So sending her off at present is not an option for me. I've just got to get up enough nerve to try to take care of this myself. But anyway, I'll show you what she has on today. It is the from the Peter Rabbit line from Gymboree, and it's one of their little rompers. It's cotton, and it's a very crisp little cotton romper. I'm sure most all of you have seen this in the line. I absolutely love it. And I put a little knit top under this since she has 3/4 arms. And of course the little matching bonnet and her precious little gold cross necklace here that I keep on her all the time. And the little stuffed Peter Rabbit toy. And she has the little Peter Rabbit socks there. I have all the pieces to these lines except the little pink polka dot romper, and I'm looking for that in 0 to 3. If any of you happen to have that and would like to sell it or know where I could find one, if you would let me know in the comments. I'm looking for one in excellent condition, and there's just not any out there on eBay at present. I will continue to look until I find it, and I'm sure that eventually it will show up. Well, it's been a very, very hot summer here. I know that most of you have experienced extreme weather conditions over the last couple of seasons that that we've had, and according to weather experts, that it may not end anytime soon. So I've been spending much of my time indoors this summer, just not to expose myself to the heat. And the main things that I do to get out, I have a very active Sunday school class, and we take trips monthly, and we have a party at the church or something monthly, and we take little road trips. And so I've done that, and of course it's always been in the comfort of an air-conditioned vehicle and buildings, so I've really not been exposed to the heat. And my husband and I have enjoyed the weekends, taking little short little trips, or just going around town in his Corvette. And even though it's a convertible and we usually go with the top down because of the extreme heat, lately we have been keeping the top up on the convertible. And this is really the first summer that we have actually done this, and we have had a convertible of some sort in our family for many years now, and have always enjoyed it, no matter whether it be hot weather or extreme cold. We just turn the heater on and wrap up and go on. But anyway, it may have something to do with our age also. I'm not really sure, but anyway, I've not minded being out of the weather, although I love looking out at the beautiful sunny days. And we've had a good bit of rain here, so despite last year when we had almost a drought situation and lost a lot of our yard and a couple of shrubs, this year the yard is flourishing. And as a matter of fact, we've had to get the yard cut more often, and our shrubbery, it's in bad need of trimming right now, simply because of the amount of growth due to the excess rain that we've had. But that's a good thing, so I'm not complaining. But my prayers and thoughts do go out to those across the nation and world who have been experiencing tremendous floods and fires, and the volcano in Hawaii and other places. There's just a lot going on our planet now, and we all really just need to be in a state of prayer, and not only that, but praise and thankfulness to God for what He has given us. And He is a sovereign God. He's over all and in charge of all, and He listens to those who belong to Him. He will answer prayer. It may not be the moment that you pray, but eventually you will get an answer to prayer. And we may not all understand what's going on now with all these tragedies as far as weather goes, but we just need to hang in there and place our hope in Him. And talking about that, we recently returned from our vacation. This year we went back to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I love going to Chattanooga. There's so many wonderful things to see and do there. If any of you have never been, oh my goodness, you're missing a real treat. But we took my daughter and granddaughter, and this time the trip was mostly for my granddaughter. My daughter cannot drive. She has a neurological movement disorder that inhibits her from being able to, drive a car long distances. She does well with city driving, but certainly cannot drive on an interstate or at speed. And then sometimes the movement of the car is upsetting to her balance. So anyway, if she goes anywhere, it's pretty much my husband and I take them. And anyway, we went to Chattanooga and just had a wonderful time there. Went to see Ruby Falls, the cave that has the natural waterfall at the very end of the cave, this huge, magnificent room with a waterfall. And we went there again and went to the aquarium. And I was a little disappointed this year because their beluga had passed away, so they no longer had the beluga, and they no longer had the manatee that they had. And I love the leafy and weedy dragons, which are in the seahorse family, and the seahorses, and they no longer had those either. So that was always the highlight of my visit there, and they did not have those this year. So, I was kind of sad about that, but it was still always wonderful to see those magnificent fish and read and learn about the different ones. And we went to the IMAX theater and saw a wonderful film there. If you all have never experienced IMAX, I highly recommend it. It's much better than just the typical 3D experience. So if you have that opportunity in your area, by all means, go see an IMAX movie. And let's see, we tried the rock climbing, not me, but my daughter, granddaughter, and even my 73-year-old husband tried it. And he did pretty good, but he has had his wrist broken in the past, broken up very badly with pins, and also his ankles with pins. So it was a little bit too hard for him putting the pressure on those joints, but he did make it up over halfway on the rock climbing walls several times, that he tried that. So I was really proud of him. He just did not have the strength, particularly in the wrist, that he needed to continue it. But anyway, they had a really good time with that, and there were several other things that we did. The things I did not get to do was take the riverboat trip again. I always enjoy that, and that is at you can take one in the evening. They also have a dinner cruise. They have a wonderful pedestrian bridge. It used to be a full-fledged bridge, but they closed it, built a new one, and then this one is just used for walking. It's spectacular at night with the sunset, and it's near the art district in Chattanooga, and there's many wonderful little restaurants and coffee houses there, art museums, there's sculpture out in the garden type areas that you can walk, and it's a very safe place. Also Rock City, which is rock formations, that's been there for, oh goodness, I remember it back when I was just a little kid in the second grade, when my mother and daddy took me up there for the very first time. And we did not get to tour that again this year, but that, and then the Chattanooga Choo Choo, we didn't get to see that again this year, but they have a wonderful zoo. So I'm just telling you a few of the things. There's plenty to keep you busy for a solid week there, doing nothing else but staying in the city of Chattanooga. But we got there on Saturday afternoon, and on Monday afternoon, and on Tuesday we decided to go to Cleveland, Georgia, which is the home of Babyland General Hospital, and that is where the soft sculptured, if you want to call them Cabbage Patch Kids, are made and are still made. Not the Cabbage Patch dolls with the vinyl heads. They do sell those, but they don't produce those there. But anyway, this was originated by Xavier Roberts back in 1978. It was in a smaller structure, but they have since moved into this gorgeous, gorgeous, almost mansion-looking building that they're in, set in a very, very large pasture-type setting almost. And anyway, they have numerous visitors year-round, and I wanted to take my granddaughter there. She wanted to have a little people or a Cabbage Patch baby born. You know, you get to choose exactly what you want, and they actually have the quote-unquote live birth there of the baby. And so, and my daughter, she loves those dolls too, so she wanted one. So we took them there and spent the majority of the day. It took us about 2.5 hours to drive there and then 2.5 back, but the middle part of the day we spent there at Babyland. And I did make a video touring the place, and I will post that on YouTube. I do apologize. I had no idea that I hope I don't make you dizzy, but I didn't realize that I swung the camera around as quickly as I did. There were a number of people there. I waited until the people kind of cleared out around lunchtime so that I would be able to be heard, because there was so many people there and it was so crowded. But I was trying to get it done as quickly as I could before everyone crowded back in. So, but anyway, if you do watch that, you will, if you've not seen anything on Babyland General, you will get a good, at least overview of what it's all about. And you might want to consider taking a trip there. Now, I don't know that there's anything else in Cleveland, but there's many things to do in surrounding areas up in the mountain. It's close to Helen, Georgia. It's close to Dahlonega and some of the other little small historic towns around there. Be a great place to visit in the fall, you know, in the mountains with the foliage and everything. So I know you would enjoy that. But anyway, I thought I would show you. I have one of the original Little People dolls. It was the first doll I ever bought for my daughter when she was little. It's never been played with. It's always just been in the room for her to see. And her name was Andrea Eva. And I'm thinking that I purchased her in 1980. My daughter was born in 1979. And I got her shortly thereafter. So I want to show her to you. And she is the soft sculpture of the Cabbage Patch dolls. This is what they look like to start off with. Of course, no two, you know, are alike because they're individually made. And this little dress that the dolly has on was one of my children's dresses. My oldest daughter, who's now 46, wore it. And then Robin wore it, my younger daughter, who is now 39. And the little shoes belong to my granddaughter. And the dolls that you get now, even the soft sculpture ones, which my daughter and granddaughter got on this trip, they have a printed signature of Xavier Roberts on the sweet little tush, but this baby has the signature in pencil or pen. Let me see if I can get a clear view of it. Let me get it in focus there maybe. And I think you can see that that says 80 right there, but that's his little signature on the doll. And the babies that are born there, you can either get them preemies, which they have no ears and no hair, and they're rather small, or you can get them with the little top knots of hair. And my granddaughter got one that has little curly black hair and big blue eyes. You can get either big eyes or small eyes. You can get an ethnic doll. It's just your choice of what you want, and they will you know, have the doll ready in time for the birthing experience. So it's a really cute experience. And anyway, it might be something you might be interested in seeing. After all, we are all doll lovers, not just, hopefully, not just reborn dolls. But anyway, one other thing I wanted to mention was rather sad. really, I don't know why, but I've not been able to get it out of my mind. I'm still thinking about it every day. But on the way back home, we went through Birmingham, and of course, you know, we lived in Birmingham a number of years ago. That was where my second daughter was born. We lived there the first time for over 10 years. We moved away and then moved back for several years, and then back here, we went to North Carolina, and then back here to Mississippi, and we've been here for about 30 years. But anyway, there, when we lived there, my sister and brother-in-law and her 2 children lived there, as did some uncles and cousins. And anyway, my brother-in-law built us 2 different houses. The first one we lived in about 2.5 years, and we sold it and built another one. And that was in the Charmville area, which we got our mail in Pinson, Pinson, Mississippi, but the actual name of the little area was Charmville. And so we thought it would be nice to go by and show particularly my granddaughter the house that we built, and show my daughter, you know, where we brought her back from the hospital and where she lived until she was 3 years old. We lived in this home about 6.5 years, and we went back there probably maybe 10 years ago. You know how time flies. I can't really remember exactly how many years ago it was, but the man that we sold it to still lived there, and you know, he really had not changed it much. He had painted it a different color. It was a split foyer, the bottom half brick and the top half you know, was wooden siding, and very, very pretty home. And anyway, so we went back, and not much had changed as we went into the neighborhood, but as we proceeded on the street, we couldn't find the house. And, you know, I had forgotten the house number because we had not lived there in probably 36 years, I guess it had been since we lived there. And so we drove around, and we were getting a little exasperated. My husband said, well, maybe we're on the wrong street. I said, oh, no, it's right past the four-way stop sign. It's right past the stop sign. But I looked, and there was no house there. And so anyway, long story short, the house that was on the corner above our house, before you get to our house, it used to be a rustic-style house, and they had painted the siding, and it no longer appeared as it did when we lived there. And the next 2 lots and across the street were completely overgrown with weeds, young trees, just the biggest mess you've ever seen. And it dawned on me that that was where our house was. And I was devastated. And I knew that a tornado had to have come through at some point in time and wiped the house out. And I knew it had to have been quite a while before because of the overgrowth. I mean, I've seen areas where homes were destroyed by tornadoes or fire or whatever. And yes, weeds take over pretty quickly, but trees don't grow that quickly. And so I had a hard time even finding the driveway, which happened to still be there, but it was pretty much overgrown with runners from grass and weeds and so forth. Our next door neighbor's home was also gone, the one across the street, the one in back. And so I got my daughter to take a picture of it, and we just sat there. I just sat there with my mouth open. I really wanted to get out and walk the property, but I was actually afraid that there might be snakes or something. So because this was in a rural area, even though it was a subdivision and neighborhood, but I just decided not to. And as we were about to leave, the mailman drove up in his truck, and so we asked him about it, and he said, oh yes, he said a number of years ago, probably almost 7 to 10 years ago, one of the really bad tornadoes came through and literally flattened the homes in a whole street going through there and in other areas. And it was so bad that they just cleared the debris. And I guess because of the age of the subdivision, nobody has wanted to rebuild. But thank the good Lord, I have a picture of our home as it was the day that we brought my daughter home from the hospital. It has the big pink ribbon on the door. And I promised my granddaughter when we got home that I would share that picture with her. And I did, but it just left the most empty feeling in my heart. And I know that others that have gone through even worse. Thank the good Lord that no one lost their lives in this. I did not get the details, as there was some cars behind him that was waiting to pass, and he was working, the mailman was working, so we weren't able to keep him that long, but there was no loss of life, and that's what really mattered in this situation. Houses are they're just brick and mortar and wood, and but still they hold lots of memories, and it was just sad that it was just like the memories were wiped out, and I felt for my friends whose homes were there, who had their children there, their first children, and all the good times, the barbecues that we had in the backyard. And I buried my cat that I had for, I forget how many years old Buttons was, but he was way on up there in years, somewhere close to maybe 14, 15 years old. I buried him in the backyard under 2 hickory trees so that I would always know, even if we didn't live there, I would know where he was buried. I bought a 5-gallon, which is what I always bury my cats in, a 5-gallon paint container from the hardware store. They seal up completely tight, and they're the perfect size for small animals or medium-sized animals, and nothing will get to them, and water can't get in. And I always write with a permanent marker on the outside something about my animals and their date of birth and death, and just something sweet about them. But anyway, the 2 trees were gone, of course, and I just wondered if when the trees were uprooted, or they uprooted the trunks of the trees to clear the property, if by chance they uprooted the plastic drum that that I had my kitty in. I don't know. It was no longer my property. We had no dibs on it at all, but it was just the memories there. And I can only, I thought about the people in Hawaii who have lost their homes, totally covered in many, many feet of lava, never to see anything that even remotely looks like where they live. They probably couldn't even pick out where they lived, and the same thing with the fires and all. So I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but I hope you all understand where I'm coming from and understand what it meant just to see this. It was just completely and totally unexpected. But nevertheless, we kind of got ourselves back together and got ourselves home and unpacked and, are living life again. And we have so many blessings to be thankful for. And I'm just praying that the Lord Jesus, took care of the people that live there, and hope that they found a better place to live and are living happy and fulfilled lives, at this point in time. But anyway, I think I've rambled on. I think this is probably the longest video I've ever made. So, I hope you all have, anyway, were able to bear with me and kind of trying to make up for lost time here. But anyway, I just want to let you know that I am doing all right. I am still on my ketogenic diet. I'm kind of stalled out on the weight loss. I'm going to have to kind of revisit something to do. But I've lost 20 pounds, and, I'm so enjoying getting back into some of my other clothes. I have a ways to go. It will probably take me a while, but, it took me a while to put on the weight, so I know that it's not going to come off easily. But anyway, just want to let you know where I am and what's going on. And, I hope we'll be seeing you again really, really soon. And I want to say I did watch Yvonne's last video. She's home from surgery. Yvonne, I do know exactly what you're going through. I had that surgery, about 7 years ago. I'm doing well, and I hope that you will. I no longer have the problems in my neck and back like I used to, just a little stiffness every now and then. So hopefully you'll have a wonderful future to look forward to after your recovery. I hope it will be a full one, and will just continue to keep you in my prayers, as I will my other YouTube friends. So I will say bye for now from Gloria and my precious little Lillie Beth, and of course little Andrea Eva. She says, bye-bye, everybody. See you soon. God bless.